You are listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast.
What is going down? What the fuck is going down? It's your boy, Studio McGyver, and you are listening to Studio McGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. Welcome to the show, guys. If you're new to the podcast, welcome to the show. If you're into anime, nerd culture, video games, then you come to the right place. We talk about all of that shit here. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about a few things. Yes, a few things. This is episode 202. Yes, 202 episodes of the show, guys. Super Bowl just happened. I have to talk a little bit of sports. I usually don't talk sports. Really, 99% of the time, I don't talk sports on the show. But it's a Super Bowl, and it's crazy because, history was made. Tom Brady, you could pretty much say, is probably going to go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback of all time. With 7 fucking Super Bowl wins, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I had Kansas City winning, which 80 to 90% of us probably had winning this Super Bowl. I did not think he was going to go all the way. And then on top of all that, he won the Super Bowl, basically their home turf. They won it. I don't think any other team has won a Super Bowl where their city was hosting the Super Bowl. I don't think it's ever been done, but it has now. And there's going to be a lot of shit talking in the morning. I can't wait to go and watch First Take and some of these other shows in the morning and see what people have to say. But yeah, man, Super Bowl 55 was crazy, and they won pretty easily. Okay. It wasn't even really it wasn't really even hard. If you look at the score, they pretty much, Kansas City got shut the fuck down on every aspect. And yeah, man. So I'm anxious to see what everybody's going to say. And then moving forward, man, what's going to happen? I have a feeling that Tom Brady's not going anywhere. He's going to stay there for another year at least. And, I'm sure Kansas City will be back, or they will, they will see each other again. Because Patrick Mahomes and those guys aren't going anywhere. That quarterback is going to be the future. And I expect to see him winning at least a few more Super Bowls in his career. So I had to talk about that really quick, guys. And what's crazy is I really watched no football this year because of the COVID-19 thing. And it just kind of watered down the experience for me. And I just, I kind of just left it alone. And I do love my sports. I am a nerd. Yes, I love my anime. I love my video games, but I do love my football, and I do love my boxing, and then, some basketball sprinkled in there as well. So please don't get it twisted. Sports guy over here. Just this year has kind of just been crazy. So hopefully next year everything is back to normal. Hopefully, and we can kind of resume and go from there. All right, let's get off of that. Let's talk about wrestling a little bit. Segue into that because, same thing with the NFL and other sports and how COVID-19 has affected those. It's done the same thing for wrestling, Now, I'm not the biggest wrestling fan, especially in today's standards. Now, back in the day, yes, I was. And I'm talking about back in the day, Attitude Era, Monday Night Wars, that type of thing. That's when I was watching it. That's when I loved it the most. And I think that was the golden age of wrestling, in my opinion. That's when it brought back great memories because of the time that I grew up in. And also it was when competition really existed. And now we have competition again. That there's always been competition there in the wrestling world. You have Major League Wrestling, you have Ring of Honor, and now you have AEW making a strong they're announcing their presence, you know what I mean? And they're doing quite well, and I'm happy for those guys. But WCW was my federation. WCW was, my favorite, and I used to watch it. And I watched don't get it twisted. I still watch WWF or WWE now that it's called that. But I remember switching back on Monday nights, going from one one channel to the other channel, trying to catch both when you could only catch one. And it was crazy. It was dope. But WCW was my number one. If I had to pick pick a company, WCW was it. And then as far as wrestlers are concerned, my favorite wrestlers were on WCW. Sting was that one. When I was a kid, Sting was my guy. Before he became, the NWO Sting, the black and white Sting, he had the flat top and he wore all those crazy colors and all of that. Had the little ponytail in the back. That was my Sting. My favorite wrestler as a kid. And then a couple other wrestlers, Jericho and some other guys came into the picture, man. And I really, really liked those guys too. And then they just had the roster. The roster was just crazy, man. The roster, they had one of the best rosters at one time. And that brings me to when WCW/NWO Revenge came out, a game that is still my all-time favorite wrestling game of all time. The AKI engine is still like one of the best engines out there. I remember watching some gameplay in Funko Land before it was called GameStop. It used to be called Funko Land. A lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. Funko Land. And I went in there and I saw the game being played on the TV, and I just fell in love with it, man. I just couldn't believe a guy got a special put on him and then he was laying there having a baby seizure. Like, it was crazy. His head was just bouncing off the canvas. And I fell in love with the game then and never looked back since. But that roster on that game, they had the best fucking roster. They had even guys from WWF/WWE came over there. It was the perfect timing. They caught all those guys that were in contract, and it only lasted for a few months, because if they would have made that game a couple months early or a couple months later, that roster would have definitely shifted. And the fact that they caught it picture perfect, that moment was just beautiful, man. Mr. Perfect, aka Kurt Hennig, was there. He was one of my favorite wrestlers in WWF. He was there. Bret the Hitman Hart was there. I mean, you had Razor Ramon, who was known as Razor Ramon in WWE, but then Scott Hall in WCW. You had Kevin Nash, who was Diesel in WWF. He was like Shawn Michaels' bodyguard. I remember that back in the day. You just had a great fucking roster, man. NWO Hogan going dark like that, I just shocked the world. I remember it just really shocked the fucking world, man. And I mean, that's what blew WCW up, put them on the map, and then kind of shed light on their other wrestlers. Eddie Guerrero, was there. I mean, there were so many great wrestlers that came from WCW. It was ridiculous. A lot of the mainstay guys came from WCW. Rey Mysterio was another one. I mean, so many goddamn wrestlers that came from that era. And then you had the light heavyweight division, which was one of the greatest. I mean, Psychosis. I mentioned Rey Mysterio, Guerrero, those guys. It was ridiculous. Jericho, and many more. Dean Malenko. These guys were the shit. Like these guys were the roots of the show, man. And every time I watch a match from that era, it still gives me goosebumps. It takes me to a place that I love being. And which is probably why I recently just renewed my WWE Network account. And I go through this phase, guys. The last time I had this account, this subscription was like easily a couple years ago. It was 2 years ago. And the reason why I did it then is the same reason why I'm doing it now. And it'll probably happen the same way, which is I'll have it for maybe a month or two, and then I'll cancel my subscription again. And this is cool, when you have subscriptions that you can cancel anytime, that's what makes those kind of cool as well. Because I'm not into the current, wrestlers, man. Maybe I'll take a look at some of these guys, but for the most part, I'm not. I live in the heyday. I live in the Attitude Era. So what I do is I go and watch all the pay-per-views. I watch all of the episodes, that surrounded those eras, and then watch all the new content from those eras, produced about those eras, and then I move on. Once I do all that, then I don't watch it anymore. So if I'm not watching it, why do I keep it around? I'll just cancel the subscription, and I'll wait to get another year or two and come back to it. There has been a lot of things added to this network since I last saw it, and that's cool. It's always a cool thing. They have new documentaries, they have new shows that they produced or whatever. I saw some interesting things on there that I kind of want to check out, and then they have like the best of type of things. So you might have the best of the Attitude Era or something like that. You can go in and you can get all those moments, and then what they didn't have, well, they had some, but they didn't have all of the last time, a couple years back, was the actual tapings from the Monday Night Wars. Like every episode of Raw ever made, every episode of Monday Nitro ever made, they didn't have those all ready for the network. So there were some you could catch, but I think now there's a lot more, if not all, of the backlogged episodes from those times. So there were so many memories I remember watching these things, man. And so I can't wait to go back and find some of these episodes and go back in here and watch what transpired. Okay. And I don't know, man, I'm just feeling really like wrestly today, or this past couple of weeks. I've felt that way. And I get in that mode. Sometimes you miss a certain thing and you're away from it for a little bit, and you get back into it and you kind of go and you lose yourself in it again. So yeah, and that'll also bring me to what I've been playing this week. A lot of wrestling games. I'm just in my wrestling zone right now, and I'll probably be in there for a little while. Me and my son, actually, we watched some old, 1989 fucking matches. Okay, like Lex Luger. I think we watched Lex Luger versus Flying Brian, like back in 89. And I just had some wine, sat down, and he just, he was on punishment, but he was getting off punishment. So I kind of let him ease his way back to the TV, and we sat there and watched wrestling matches. And it was crazy watching him watch them, because I can remember myself being his age watching it. And he was, as old as those matches were, he was still in awe of those matches, and it was crazy. And that was just the heyday, man. Back in those days, I mean, damn, man, I didn't remember Flying Brian being so fucking swole, but Flying Brian was actually pretty goddamn swole back in the day. But yeah, I mean, these guys were fucking killing it, and I just enjoyed myself. We both did. So I say that to say, if you guys don't know about the Attitude Era, if you guys don't know about the Monday Night Wars and wrestling, take a history lesson. I'm sure there's documentaries you guys can watch, especially if you're a younger individual and you are into wrestling. I mean, I'd take a look at some of that stuff. You know what I mean? It's beautiful where wrestling is going, though, because Major League Wrestling is one I've recently been taking a look at, just a little bit on the internet or whatnot. And they have they have a pretty dope brand, actually. They have some pretty dope wrestlers, man, from what I saw. And that's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of these independents coming around and doing big things. There's a lot of talent out there now with the internet and the exposure now. I mean, it's easier for people to enjoy a lot of different things. I've seen some matches on there, just on YouTube, that rival some of the best matches I remember watching when I was younger, or when I was into like TNA and some of that, which TNA was a great company. They're still around, but they had some of the best wrestlers come out. There's Samoa Joe. I mean, is one that I think of all the time. And there's many more. I mean, I remember the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. I wonder where those guys are now, man. If you guys remember those guys, those were my favorite tag team coming out of there. Impact Wrestling / TNA. Those guys were very talented, man. They wrestled a lot. They did a lot of great things in Japan. And they were, lighter guys, lightweight, light heavyweight guys. They were around 200, 215 pounds, running around doing dope shit. super kicks and all kinds of innovative moves and stuff like that. And then they had a nice career, solo career, as well. So they did a lot of great things in singles competition. And these are just a few wrestlers, man, that came from that brand. There were so many though. I can't think of all of them in my mind right now. Abyss is another guy. Who else, man? There was so many, and then there was a lot of wrestlers who went there, who came from other federations. I think Kurt Angle was there. Boy Raven was there at one time, which is another one of my top 5 guys in the business. It was just a dope time. It was just a dope time. And they had some dope matches, man. The X Division Championship, stuff like that, man, never dies, So WWE is, a dope company. Of course, they're like the creme de la creme as far as, what people identify as wrestling and what that is. But that's changing, man. That's slowly changing. Okay, that's slowly changing, especially the new generation coming up now. You got all these other federations, Lucha, I think Lucha Underground. You have, like I said, MLW. You have Ring of Honor, which has been around for years and years and years. AEW now, and the list goes on and on and on. So I don't know, man. I'm just really into wrestling right now again, especially the older stuff. Gonna go back to the Monday Night Wars and stuff, and maybe along the way, I discover some guys that I really appreciate. And some of these current runs and some of these current federations that's going on. Like I said, I spotted a couple guys in MLW that I thought looked cool, and so I'm exploring. I'm open to those type of things always. But yeah, man, great memories, and I gonna get into some more of those. Can't wait. But where else do I go from here? Been an interesting week, guys. Kind of a slow week, if I'm being honest, as far as news and what's going on out here. I'm still sitting in here, waiting, biding my time for the PS5. These scalpers are still doing things out here with warm butter, strange things in the dark, and I don't know when it will end. But at the same time, I'm not worried about it. Because like I said before, guys, I've talked about this. I am not in a hurry now to get a PS5 or Xbox Series X at all. I've been exploring other options like Steam and just backlogging and even emulators. Okay, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, that's it. I have no other reason to, because there's nothing out there that I am just willing to die to play right now. It's just not. And the only 2 games I'm looking forward to this year so far are on the PS5, have not even been announced yet, which could possibly be pushed back to 2022. And I'm just mark my words. Remember that, guys. God of War Ragnarok and Final Fantasy 16, those games, just mark my words. Don't be surprised if they get pushed back. Just don't be surprised. I have a funny feeling that is going to happen. Okay. Like I said, we shall see. The proof is going to be in the pudding, if you ask me. Anyway, those 2 games are the only 2. And as far as, those are AAA games, of course, but there are a couple other games that aren't AAA that have me excited. And I've talked about these as well. Biomutant is one game that finally got announced. I talked about that last week. And then Little Devil Inside, which is going to be I think it's going to be an epic game. Just a crazy, both these games have their own style to them. And you can tell that they're very, very original, okay, in the way that they play and in the world that was created for them. And these are the games I'm most excited about. And both of these games are coming out in the summer, close to the summer. You have one coming out May 25th, and then Little Devil Inside, I think, is in June. So, yeah. And that's it, man. Until we get some other announcements, until we get the actual release dates of some other games, that's it. There's a couple of other, independent games that I'm looking forward to, but, I'll get to those at a later date that are supposed to be coming out this year. So I'm excited about those as well. One is coming out for Steam, it's a open world kind of, fighting shooting simulator. It's strange, man, but it has a heavy focus on like hand-to-hand combat, and it looks amazing. And it looks like you have, control over how you create your character, whatnot. It looks amazing. I can't think of the name right now, but I'm going to go. I think next week I want to do like an indie kind of special. I want to talk about a lot of these independent games that I'm very excited to play. Most of these more excited than these AAA games, to be honest with you. And it's getting to that point where now companies are making these games, and these AAA games, and you compare them to these independent games, and a lot of these independent games, man, have more heat than these AAA games, man. And I think a lot of it has to do with free reign and freedom over how they, make the game. When you have big AAA game studios, man, sometimes it's a pain in the ass because you have so many people to answer to, and the vision of a game, by the time it's finished and completed, there's a lot of things that have been changed, and sometimes for the worse, and you don't get that creative freedom that a lot of these independent guys get a chance to get, because you have a lot of these guys who are 1 and 2, 3-man teams, making fucking smashes out here, but they have complete reign. They have complete control of what they get to do. And sometimes that's what you need. You need that freedom, to let that freedom go and create something beautiful. Sometimes you have to take risks on, and instead of going and answering to a executive who is going off of numbers, percentage wise, man, it says this game, these type of games don't do very well if you tend to go this way with it. And so we're not going to be able to do that. We're going to have to cut this. We're going to have to go move in a different direction, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? With the sake on their breath and all of that. So that's kind of what we get caught up in when you're dealing with AAA companies sometimes, compared to, independents. Now don't get me wrong. There's a lot of dope AAA companies out there, but that depends on the company and, who's the head, who's behind the scenes making the moves, pulling the strings too. That's a lot to do with that. And we don't have a lot of those guys anymore. We only have a few. Okay. And then you have some surprise hits, some people put out some things. And like I said, the reason why those companies end up blowing up is because they're throwing shots in the dark. They're doing something original. They're going off the beaten path. And then that's how a lot of these dope companies we are in love with, that's how they are born. That's how they are discovered. So keep that in mind, especially if you're like a developer and you're listening to this shit, or if you're an exec, but you're probably not listening to this. You're probably just smoking your scrolls and drinking your sake, and you're probably getting ready to go pull out some warm butter. But still, I had to say it, and so I did. Anyway, one thing I also want to talk about is my anime watch list, what I've been watching. I did get a chance to watch some anime this week, guys. I didn't get the chance to finish anything, but I got a couple anime that I am watching. And one is Excel World. Now, I don't know if you know about Excel World, but it's, if you are into anything like maybe Sword Art Online, stuff like that, No Game, No Life, it's kind of in that world. I have not watched No Game, No Life yet, but it's there. It's right there. It's begging to be watched, but I think I'm going there next. But yeah, Excel World is definitely dope. I think it came out in 2012, around 2012, 2013. And it's got to do with, this boy, a little chubby little thing, man, in high school, who, pretty much a nerd, doesn't have many friends. He gets picked on and stuff like that. But Excel World is a place he escapes to go play games, and he's a different character there. And he's very good at, he's very fast, and he's very skilled at maneuvering in this world. That's one of the games he plays that nobody can beat him in. And he ends up meeting this girl who happens to be one of the most popular girls in the school in real life. And she ends up taking a shine to him because of how good and what he's able to do in the Excel world. And I'll leave it at that, but it starts there. And, you think of emo, low self-esteem, no confidence, but learning to look at himself in a brighter picture and in a brighter light because of this female. And it's more to it than that, but that's the basis. And it's a pretty good anime. It was recommended from a friend, and I'm definitely enjoying my time right now. I think I'm like 13 episodes in, 12 episodes in, and yeah, I like what I'm watching right now. Yeah, it's very serviceable right now. Currently, it's easily like a 75 out of 100 for me. Could possibly hit 80 for me. Anything over 70 is definitely worth watching. I say 60, 65 and above is worth watching. So I say this is more, this is about 75 to 80 right now out of 100 for me. Okay. And I'm liking what I'm seeing. Now, there were people speculating about this anime when you compare it to Sword Art Online. And it's the device that they use. Okay. And I forgot the damn name. I think it's called a Nerve something with nerve though. But it's got to have to do with the thing that the kids wear on their head for them to go into these worlds and these universes and stuff. But supposedly they have some similarities. I didn't get too deep into it, but there is a lot of stuff on the internet about how they could possibly be in the same universe. Okay. But hey, that's just that's a later date. Maybe you guys heard of this. Maybe you haven't. I don't know, but just a little tidbit in there, just a side tangent, if you will. The other anime that I've been looking at is one called Shuffle. And this one came out, it's a little older. It came out in 2006, and it seems to be a harem anime. Okay. To me, it's about a teenage guy who's in school, and he grew up with this girl. Okay. They know each other for like 8 years, and she's like one of the most beautiful girls in the school. A lot of boys are in lust after her or whatever, but she loves this main character's dirty draws, man. Like, she cooks for this guy. She's kind of like a mom. She does things like a mom. She's always there for him. She just is there to help him at his every whim. Anytime he turns around, she's there. And low key, I think she's in love with him. Okay. They live together. Damn near. You might as well say they live together, because her parents are never home, always on business trips, things of that nature. His parents died like 8 years ago when he was a kid, when he was really young. And they go to school one day and they get 2 new students. And these students are 2 females. And let me give you a rundown real quick. The students, the school in itself, and I could even say the universe in this anime, is basically, it consists of more than just humans. You have demons or devils, and you have like angels, I guess, or that's the best I can explain it. I think the demons or the devils have like longer ears, and then like the angels have, their ears are long but shorter. Okay. They're a little bit bigger than humans, but they're not as long as the fucking like the demons or whatever, the devils. But anyway, but they're not evil. Okay. But anyway, everybody's trying to coexist in this world, and the school is also integrated. So they have all these 3 different classes in this school. Well, the 2 new students are females, both beautiful, of course. And one is a demon or devil, and the other one is an angel. Okay. And their fathers brought them to this fucking school because they want this guy, who is the main protagonist, they want him to marry their daughter. Okay. And each one has their own reasons why they want him to or whatever. And they both claim that, well, if he marries their daughter, he will get divine powers, from the demon realm or angel realm or whatever. So yeah, you got this tug of war type of thing going on with with him, the girl that he's grown up with, who he actually has feelings for as well. And then you have the 2 other girls. So it's kind of like a tug of war type of thing, but they get along quite well, at least in the beginning, early stages. And then you have the haters, who are the people who are obsessed with these girls, who hate him because, they're in love with him and they want to be with him. It's, that's how it starts. You know what I mean? I think I'm like 5 episodes in, but it's pretty awesome. I like it. I love harem animes, for the most part. I haven't seen a harem anime yet that I didn't like. Okay. Pretty much everyone I've watched, I've got a kick out of, and I don't know what it is about harem animes. I love them so much, man. And it's something I recently discovered. I haven't been watching harem animes that long. Maybe for a year, maybe 2 years tops. And I really gotten into those. Like I said, guys, before, years ago, not that long ago, I was just a shonen guy. If it wasn't a shonen anime, I wasn't trying to give it the time of the day, but I learned my lesson, and I learned to basically spread my wings and fly, open up my palette. And since I've done that, I have had so much joy in my anime watching universe. Everything that, you know what I mean? I just discovered so many dope animes that have become some of my favorites. And they're not harem anime. They're not at all. So that's the cool thing that I enjoy about that. All right. I don't know what I'm going to watch next. I know I'll try to finish these this week, and then who knows what I'll start next week. If I even start any, I could finish these, and then I might not watch another anime this week. And then next time you guys see me, I will have not watched anything else anime wise. So we'll see. It just depends. My schedule is kind of just all over the place, but that is my anime watch list. That's what I've been watching right now, guys. If you've seen these, hey, cool. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear from you guys on some of these, or some other recommendations. Always looking for some new harem anime. If you have any recommendations for harem anime, holler at your boy. Leave a comment down below, something, because I will definitely check them out. Okay. All right. During the Super Bowl, we got a commercial. We got the Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer. I wanted to just, go over this right quick. Shit looks good. Shit looks good, man. Shit looks like it's going to be awesome. Falcon, man, huge Falcon fan, man. Now, yeah, the show looks like it's going to be awesome. It's coming out March 19th. It's right around the corner. So, Disney is starting to come with the heat, come with the fire. Okay. WandaVision is out doing things. I have not gotten back to that show. I need to get back to that show and see what the fuck is going on. But yes, the shows are starting to come out, starting to trickle out now. And I can't wait. The Star Wars stuff, man, I'm still waiting on some of this stuff. But yeah, man, I'm letting it stack up. I'm going to let it stack up and come out here. And same thing with the Winter Soldier, the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm thinking, should I don't know. Because I hate watching shows and having to wait a whole nother week to get the next episode. I mean, I'm just spoiled. And today, a lot of us are. Netflix is responsible for that, for putting out shows and putting out all the fucking episodes and then letting us stream them all. Netflix is the first to do that. And yeah, man, for me at least. So I'm spoiled on that. I will only typically watch shows that at least have a season done so that I can watch it in its entirety and I can get hooked on it and I can, do all the great things that people do when they fucking binge. All right. Same reason why I'm waiting for Attack on Titan to be done. Even though we have a nice chunk of episodes finished now. What else? Promised Neverland is another one. So there's other ones out here that I'm waiting for them to be complete so I can finish it all. Okay. And wrap it all up. That's just me. It's just how I am. And then even season 2 now of, God damn it. I can't think of the goddamn name right now. My brain is tripping, but there's a lot of them out there that have this going on. Okay. And I'll be more than happy to let them finish and finish them up after that. No Guns Life is another one, man. No Guns Life. Yeah, it's another one, but there's so many, guys. So that's just how I choose to watch them. I don't like agonizing over an episode. I don't. I like to just get it done and get into it. So I'll leave it at that. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier, man, March 19th, check that shit out when it's here. It's going to be a doozy, man. I think. I really do. All right. I want to talk a little bit about Google Stadia, man. There's been some news recently that kind of, amplifies what I was talking about before. And probably a lot of other people on the internet, about this company. And I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Stadia had no reason to throw their hat in the ring with what they were offering. Some people may argue otherwise, but in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I truly believe that Google Stadia was dead on arrival. Okay, it was just a matter of time, and now the writing is really on the wall. Now, I've talked about this, a few times in the past about what they were bringing to the table and why it was not going to work. There were just too many shortcomings, and I think they were just a little too early to the table, man. And technology wise, they're not ready to deliver on what they were trying to bring. I think they got a little bit over their heads, and now they're realizing that. They're finally realizing that. And the reason why I say that now is because now it has been reported that they have basically shut down their first party studios. Okay. So Google Stadia was trying to rival, PlayStation, Microsoft, all these guys, Nintendo, with trying to make their own games. Okay. Having their own studios and doing all that. Google has a lot of money. So, I remember when they first announced, I thought they were going to be a console, and, I was excited about that. I thought they were going to be another console, but no, it was just a streaming gaming service. And then when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. And it was never a second thought in my mind, because streaming is still very, very Eric Bonet, very sensitive right now. And they still have kinks to be worked out, and it's not evenly fleshed out in all communities. In other words, there's lots of people who live in areas that are just not friendly when it comes to the internet and the way it works in their area. I mean, I could tell you plenty of times where I've just drove around in certain areas of this city that I'm in, and as soon as you cross a certain street, I mean, the bars go down if you have any bars at all. So I'm just like, some of these people have to have a terrible time with their internet. You know what I mean? Just a fucking terrible time. I have a friend of mine I talk about sometimes on the show, my boy J Love, Jesse. Shout out to him. His internet, he's in like Fort Worth, and wherever he's at in Fort Worth, man, it just seems like the internet is trash. Okay. The streaming, the downloading, all this stuff is just straight trash out there. He has the highest, he bought the best package, and it still does no good. He can't control that. There's nothing that can control, how bad your internet is depending on the area that you live in. And that is a major concern with a lot of people. And it was a major concern with a lot of people when Stadia was announced. And as a result of that, those things came true. Those things came to the light because you saw what happened, and it was choppy. It just was unplayable in a lot of different instances. And, they were, the crazy thing about Google Stadia is that they were really putting their nuts on the table. I mean, they had their nuts on the table. They had butter on the table. They were trying to really fuck you really hard with some of the things that they were doing. And one of the things was prices of these games. I'm like, yo, you're charging full price. You're charging $59.99 for this game, okay, on your platform. And the game is streamable. It's a streamable game, okay? You don't own the game. If anything were to happen to Stadia, you basically paid that money and you have nothing to show for it, okay? Poof, it turns into nothing but a pile of dust. And that's what it was. And that's what a lot of people kind of shied away from. They didn't like the idea of paying this money full price, if that, on top of that, for games and not getting to own them. Okay. So whenever Google Stadia decides to shut down, everything that you spent on these games, they're going with them. You're not getting them. You can't download them and play them later or play them offline, any of that. If you have internet connection issues or anything of that nature, or if they do, you can't play it. You have to wait for them to signal that, hey, it's okay for you to play. That's just what it is. In other words, you're giving too much money for too little in return. And that's just my opinion. That's how I looked at it. And that's how a lot of people looked at it. And that's why it has been failing since it came out. And ever since, I mean, the first day, and I remember they were offering it for free. Like, hey, get a free demo. Here's, try it out for free. At first, they weren't doing that. They were not doing that. Now they're doing that. And for them to shut down their first party studios now, they're basically saying the writing's on the wall. We have given up. And on these studios, we don't see any money. Okay, we're not making any money here. We're losing money. We're hemorrhaging money. Okay, we can't compete with the other consoles. We just can't do it. And in the end, we need to go ahead and cut our ties before, we bleed the entire block. So they cut their first party studios now. Next is going to be Google Stadia hanging it up. Please believe me. I say about a year from now, you're going to hear more news about Google Stadia finally hanging it up and shutting it down. Or they'll at the least be reduced to doing nothing but third party streaming games. That's it. They may, you may be able to buy like an Epic subscription or some shit like that. Maybe a Ubisoft subscription and run it off of that and try that. But even then, you're dwindling. Okay. It's only a matter of time, especially now they've shown everybody that they're on the way out. Whenever you do something like this, it shows that you have no faith. You have lost your faith in whatever it is that you're doing. And it's only a matter of time before it all goes from fade to black. But I mean, hey, they fought like hell. It's still technically in there. Could they turn something around? Probably highly unlikely, but they're still scrapping. Some people, enjoy their product. I mean, not having to download all those gigs of the game, especially if you have a good to great internet connection and you don't have those issues. I mean, I could see some people thriving off of that, saying, hey, let me just pick up and play, something. And if your internet is good, though, I mean, you have a good connection, you're rolling. But like I said, there's just too many people that don't have that. And I think that's the issue. When you make a product like this, you want to be able to supply the same quality across the board to everybody. That's really where their Achilles heel is. If they don't, or if they're not able to do that, then that's killing a lot of their market already. And that's what it's done. And then if you compare it to the other systems and other things that are available to us right now, then it's just it's an easy answer. Stadia is not the answer. So RIP Google Stadia. I will see you one day. I'll reassess the situation maybe a year from now, talk about it, or if any other news pops up, I'll definitely let you guys know. But right now, it's safe to say Google Stadia is pretty much done. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to talk about on this episode, guys, is just some games that I've been playing. Just a quick rundown of some stuff, and I'll end the show there. Now, I talked about wrestling earlier in the show, and I think it's safe to say your boy has been playing a lot of that. Okay. And I've been playing a lot of a WWE 2K19. Yes, there is a 2K20, which is trash, which is garbage, which should never have been made. And yeah, they're skipping that. And 2021, well, they're skipping that. So the best wrestling game, like the best wrestling simulator out now, is 2K19 that you can buy. That's the last one, which Ukes, which is highly renowned for their work on previous games and stuff. That's the last one that they actually had a part in making, and that's why 2020 was so trash. The wrestling game was garbage because they left, and it hasn't been the same. But yeah, this game is great, guys. A lot of people still play it. I remember when they were going to shut the servers down, but they ended up reactivating them because a lot of people still were still playing this and still loving it. And that's what they didn't want. They wanted everybody to move on to that next one and da. But if you make a trash game, so the people spoke. The people spoke on that, and that is where we're at with that game. Now, also, as far as emulators are concerned, I've been playing a lot of those. I've been playing my Nintendo 64 emulator, and I've been playing some WCW Feel the Bang, which is a game I talked about last week. It's a modded version of No Mercy with WCW characters. One of the best ones out there, if you ask me. And I've also been doing some emulators, other emulators I've been playing, PC Engine emulator. If you don't know what that is, think of the TurboGrafx 16. If you guys are familiar with that, it's basically the same thing, but it's also called the PC Engine. And I've been playing Bonk's Adventure. Yes, big Bonk's fan, guys. A lot of people love that Mario. A lot of people love that Sonic. Your boy has I have a pretty soft spot in my heart for Bonk's and his games. Okay, Bonk's is a dope character. I thought it was a very innovative character where you use your head as your fucking weapon. If you don't know about Bonk's, Google him and you will find nothing but videos on this character. And the game is just fun to play. It's a platformer kind of, action game, and it's just a dope game. Bonk's Adventure. That's what I've been playing, guys. Also, a Game Boy Advanced emulator. I have a Game Boy Advanced emulator. A lot of these games are very hard to get, guys, now, and they're very OP, expensive-wise, if you do find them. But I've been rocking the Game Boy Advance emulator, and the game I've been playing most right now has been Dragon Ball Advanced Adventures. Okay, I'm a Dragon Ball guy, and this game is an action platformer as well. One of the better games, man, out there that a lot of people don't realize. I think it came out for the Wii as well. But yeah, it's an awesome game. You play as Goku as a kid, and you're running around and you're fucking up, all these characters. And what's cool about this game is, it's got a dope story mode. Okay. But it's also got a dope versus mode where when you fight bosses, you unlock them, and you can have like a tournament mode in this fucking game. And when you fight in tournament mode, you have more abilities and things of that nature in this mode, which I think is awesome. Like, I was fighting Krillin in a tournament, and it was fucking awesome, man. Brings me back to the heyday of Dragon Ball. The Dragon Ball characters, man. I wish sometimes I still wish we could have the Dragon Ball years. We could just be in Dragon Ball, and when everybody was more grounded, and they had some awesome fights. Some of the best fights I still believe have come from Dragon Ball. Like, my boy Ten Shinhan was the shit. I mean, that's what made him awesome, man. He was just OP, and I think Toriyama made him OP and didn't expect, he didn't know how far the series was going to go at that point when he was writing that. But yeah, he made Tien OP, that third eye, and he basically buried Tien after that arc. He had his own arc, the Ten Shinhan arc, and he actually won the 22nd martial arts tournament. He beat Goku. He was actually the champion, and then he got buried because he was a little too OP. Because that move, his eye was basically never really used again after Dragon Ball. Okay, after that tournament, because it was kind of an OP ability that allows you to fucking copy a technique from just watching it. I mean, how OP is that? I mean, think about how OP Tien could have been if he really focused on that ability, because he learned the Kamehameha and just watching it being used one time, and then he knew it. So yeah, think of all the techniques he could have learned, and that's why you never saw it again, because Toriyama was like, oh shit, I drank a little too much sake when I was writing this character, and now he's a little too OP. No matter what anybody says, Tien is one of my favorite characters all time in Dragon Ball. He's one of my top 3. I will always love Tien. If you took a look in the man cave, you will definitely understand that, because he is definitely here, and he's here forever. He's not going anywhere. But yeah, man, love his character, and I love that series. Love Dragon Ball. There were some dope games that came out on Dragon Ball, around Dragon Ball as well. There was Dragon Ball. There was Attack of the Saiyans, which is an RPG Dragon Ball game. If you guys aren't familiar with that, you might want to check that one out as well. One of my favorite RPGs, man. Is that game. Because it also focused on some of the best characters at that time. You had Gohan, you had fucking Piccolo, you had Ten Shinhan, you had Krillin, you had those characters, and those were the main characters focused on this RPG. And Tien was just an awesome character there too. I mean, they just really exposed all of his dopest abilities in this game and made him like just my favorite character. He was always on the squad. I was always 10 was always in my squad, man. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of that Dragon Ball Advance Adventure stuff, and it's a great game, man. And you guys should definitely check it out if you have a Game Boy Advance or if you have an emulator. Definitely take a look at that one. Awesome fucking game. With that being said, that is going to do it for this episode, guys. I want to thank everybody for watching the show, streaming the show. I'll be back next week. Hopefully we'll have more to discuss on other things, gaming related mostly, and we'll get into it. You know what I mean? I want to let everybody know, though, to help out the show, you could easily do something. It wouldn't take you long at all. You could go to StudioMguyvR.com. You could check out the website, guys. There's lots of things there to be discovered. There's the podcast, of course. You can download it. You can stream it there. There's also a merch store. Yes, if you want to show your love and support for the show, you could go buy some merch, buy a hoodie, buy a hat, buy a fucking mug, something of that nature. You can also just say, fuck it, I just want to donate something. You could also do that there as well. And you can check out all of my handles. You can check out my YouTube channel. You can check out my Instagram. You can check out my Twitter, Facebook, all of those things, even my fucking Discord. And on top of all of that, you could actually check out some of my music. Yes, as a hobby, I like making music. I have some music on there that I've done, some projects you guys can check out. Some of it is free. You can download it. I have a Dragon Ball song on there right now. It's called My Dragon Ball, and it's free. You can download it. Yeah, man, check it out. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of my music. I'm curious. I would like to know. All of that is there and then some. So definitely check out StudioMguyvR.com to get all of those things. And you can also support the show. Okay. Now, with that being said, I'm going to get out of here for real this time. I love you guys. I want to thank everybody for listening. The show is doing well. I feel blessed to have listeners like you guys. And we're going to continue to move forward in 2021, man, and make this a better year. All right. This is Studio MacGyver, and you have been listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. See you next time.